Which brings us to the Rodriguez-Cruz team. Now, as far as I'm concerned, the Rodriguez-Cruz team has gotten off to a bad start, a really bad start, because when Dennis Rodriguez confirmed he was running for Adelup, he was going to do it to build on the great legacy of the Calvo-Tenorio administration. And it's not surprising he would say that, because he was basically their point man in the legislature for the past 8 years. All the bills that I fought hard against with the administration, Dennis Rodriguez was on the other side pushing back, supporting the administration. Attempts to borrow hundreds of millions of dollars multiple times, and he was one of their strongest supporters. So that wasn't a good one right off the bat. Then the second thing was this ethical challenge. When I say ethical challenge, they got into a little bit of controversy when his running mate refused to resign to run for office. Now that was a big red flag for me, because here we are paying a government employee to run for another office. That didn't sit well with me or a lot of other people. And eventually he did resign his position, but not without making a lot of noise about it. So again, we're looking at ethical challenges. And then there's the tax question that we have to deal with. Dennis Rodriguez represented his father before the island's chief tax officer, Governor Calvo. And this is what the Attorney General had to say about that.
According to a motion to withdraw filed in the District Court of Guam, Dennis Rodriguez Sr. and his wife, Asuncion Rodriguez, did not file their tax returns for the years 1996 through 2001, and thus they owe over $950,000 without including interest and penalties. With interest and penalties included, the amount owed to GovGuam is about $2.7 million. The Rodriguezes entered into settlement negotiations with GovGuam earlier this year. GovGuam had a pending motion to foreclose on the liens it held on some of their properties. The motion states that the Rodriguezes have admitted that they earn $120,000 annually. They drive a Lexus SUV, and they own at least 5 parcels of real property. GovGuam postponed their foreclosure at the request of the Rodriguezes' legal counsel so that he could submit additional briefing. The motion goes on to state that the Rodriguezes' attorney, Tom Fisher, contacted Arthur Clark, who was an attorney and chief policy advisor to the governor, to inquire about the settlement without the Office of the Attorney General's knowledge and consent. Fisher was the attorney for the Calvo-Tenorio campaign. Then on April 7th of 2012, Clark appeared at a settlement negotiation. The motion states that Clark took over settlement negotiations on behalf of GovGuam. The AG states Mr. Clark persists in a course of action that the Office of the Attorney General finds legally inadvisable and antithetical to the public interest. It goes on to state that the only issue remaining in the case is the defendant's counterclaim to foreclose on the Rodriguezes' property. However, the AG's office believes it would not be acting in the public interest to settle the case in the manner proposed by Mr. Clark. The Attorney General believes it is in the public interest for DRT to collect as much of the plaintiff's tax debt as is reasonably possible. Because of this disagreement, the AG's office filed this motion to withdraw from the case, saying, quote, "The Office of the Attorney General finds the proposed settlement by Mr. Clark repugnant and fundamentally disagrees with the settlement proposal." The AG's office also states that they met with the governor on Friday, September the 7th of 2012 to discuss the matter, but the Office of the Attorney General and the Office of the Governor have reached no agreement as to how this case should be resolved.
Now, I know that Dennis Rodriguez Sr. is under no obligation to disclose the settlement he made, but unfortunately, that settlement in this environment where well-connected political insiders like mid-pack distributors are skating on paying their taxes, which is forcing the government to increase the taxes on the rest of us, that is an integrity issue that cannot be ignored. And when you couple that with the fact that Dennis Rodriguez was one of the biggest defenders of the pay raises, when Frank Uggan introduced Bill 204 at the end of the 33rd legislature to roll back the pay raises, as you can see here, Dennis was a staunch no. And during the 33rd legislature, there were 10 different bills and votes to roll back the pay raises and various bills. And Dennis was on the opposite side of every one of those attempts to roll back pay raises. The only time he changed his vote was after he declared that he was running for governor. So, credibility issues, loyalty to the Calvo Tenorio team, another reason why. I think citizens should just say no. And then there's Guam Memorial Hospital. Under the past 8 years, he's been chairman of the Health Committee, and now Guam Memorial Hospital has lost our joint accreditation, and we're on the verge of losing CMS under his watch. So the people of Guam cannot afford to have a governor with this level of challenge to his credibility and his ability running the island's highest office. And then there are other reasons why, because he's also been a staunch supporter of the GRRP deal that could cost taxpayers between $20 and $350 million, and he has been supporting it, and we can't afford to have someone in there supporting that level of pork barrel plunder. There are too many backroom deals still alive in the Calvo Tenorio administration. We have to be careful who we elect. And the last thing we need to do is elect somebody who wants to build on the Calvo Tenorio legacy. So when it comes to the Rodriguez Cruz team, pass. It'll be for the benefit of the people of Guam.